This conference will now be recorded.
So far, we completed MMFI integration, MMFI automatic account automation, and MMWM is also completed. So pricing process is also completed. So today we'll step into the MMSD integration. But in previous already we discussed about the inventory topics, okay, like goods received, goods issues, stock transfers. So we observe the stock transfers, right? The physical movement of the material from one store to another store. Okay, stock transfers we observe. Okay, so now today we need to discuss about MMSD integration. So what is MMSD integration? How to handle this MMSD integration? We'll see in today's session. Okay. In MMSD integration, generally, whenever you go for the integration, so as so what are the steps we need to perform? For SD consultant, what are the config steps they need to perform? Okay. But in real time, in real project, so here the SD relevant settings will be done by the only SD people only, your colleagues. Okay. So, but however, we are keeping some 2 years of 3 years of experience, and we're keeping couple of projects, right? So definitely in training system, okay. So with there is no SD, but I will show you. So what are the SD people? They are going to do the configuration steps here. So we need to discuss, but it is most important. So you need to keep in your profile involved in other modules. Okay, what are the settings need to be done? Okay, so definitely we'll discuss here. Okay, in MMSD integration, the topic is called stock transport orders here. The topic is called stock transport orders. Okay, in stock transport orders. So in what is the difference between stock transfer and stock transport orders? We need to observe here. Okay. So in stock transfer, simply the material is moving from one store location to other store location, okay, physically. So we observed one step and two step procedures. Okay. But in this simple stock transfers, the receiving store people generally they will give so they will request through the mail or phone. Okay, simply supplying store people issue here. So we observed 6 movement types. What are the 6 movement types we observed? One step process 311. Okay, within the plant store to store, and two step process 313 315 here. Okay, the same way plant to plant also we observe one step and two step procedure. So what is the difference between one step and two step also we discussed here, but actually it is not like this here. Simple stock transfers is without any order, but in stock transport order, receiving plant or receiving store people definitely they need to give the order, then only the supplying plant people will issue the material. Okay. So there are two methods of stock transport order. One is intra company STO, intra-company stock transport orders. So what is intra-company stock transport order? Okay, and what is inter-company stock transport orders? We need to discuss here. So intra-company INTRA and inter-company. So we have two methods of stock transport orders. Is there? Intra-company stock transport order means intra-company STO, inter-company STO. And intra-company STO, okay, the material is moving between two plants, and these two plants are belongs to same company code. Okay, so here the material is moving between two plants. These two plants are okay, so belongs to the same company code. Is called intra-company STO. Okay, in intra-company STO, so means I'll give an example. So the two plants are same company code. I have some Tata Steels here. Okay. Okay. Noted. So here in intra-company STO, so in intra-company STO means the material is moving between two plants, and these two plants are belongs to same company. Okay. So now, what is intercompany STO? Intercompany STO means the metal is moving between two plants. These two plants are belongs to, okay, so different company codes. Means Tata Steel's one plant to, okay, Tata Motors other plant. But intra-company STO or intercompany STO, so we need to observe. So in intra-company STO, we have two types of STOs in there. Type 1 STO. So what is type 1 STO? So STO without SD shipping here. STO without SD shipping. and STO without billing. Okay, so this is about type 1 STO, and we have type 2 STO is also there. What is type 2 STO? STO with SD shipping, STO with SD shipping, STO without billing. STO without SD shipping and STO without billing, type 1. Type 2, STO with SD shipping and STO without billing. Okay. Now, in the intercompany STO, we have only one type of STO, that is type 3 STO. So, inter means the metal is moving between two plants, and these two plants are belongs to the different company codes, right? So, STO with SD shipping and STO with billing. So once again we'll discuss MMSD. So this is the integration. So in real time, the SD people, they will involve, okay, in this stock transport orders. In simple stock transfer, receiving plant and receiving store people, so they were never give any order. So simply through phone or mail communication, the supplying store people issue the material. But in the STO process, the SD people, they must to maintain some config steps. Then only we can able to move. So in stock transport order in real time, so all the SD people, but in absence of the SD, so in training system, so I will explain all the config steps, but it is most important. So when you are preparing a profile, so you need to keep your bulletin points are involved in SD integration part MMSD. So in intra and two methods in intra and inter. But in intra we have two types of STOs. Inter we have only one type of STO. But one important note also you need to understand, for type 1 STO, if I want to perform type 1 STO, no configuration steps is required. If any configuration steps also, we need to remove here. But whereas type 2 and type 3 STO, we must maintain the config step. Okay. So today we'll perform type 1 STO. Okay. So what is type 1 STO? STO without SD shipping and STO without billing. So this actually we need to perform today's session. So what is intra-company STO and how to handle this intra-company STO will perform in today's session. Okay. So let me observe how to perform this intra-company STO. So an intra-company STO type 1 we'll discuss here. So before that, what we observe in intra-company means the material is moving between two plants, and these two plants are belongs to the same company, right? So let us will perform on figure. Okay, so I have 1000 company code. So in 1000 company code, so I have one company code, 1000 company code. So I have two plants here. Okay, so 1000 plant is supplying plant. In the same company code, I have 1000 plant. The 1000 plant I will take as a supplying plant. This plant means supplying. Okay, and here 11 plant I will take as a receiving. So 1000 plant is supplying plant and 11 plant is receiving plant. First of all, okay, so here this is actually we are performing STO without SD shipping and STO without billing. So you can write down no configuration steps is required to perform this type 1 STO. But type 2 and type 3 STOs definitely we need to maintain the config step. For type 1 STO, okay, so if configuration steps, if anything is also we need to remove here. But process you need to understand. So generally, which people is required? Receiving plant is required, right? The receiving people, so what they will do, simply they will create a PR. They will create a PR in ME51 in transition code. So they will create a purchase equation. Mention in the purchase equation, they will mention which material, okay, so how much quantity they required, for which plant they required, for which store location they required. All these details they will mention in the purchase equation. Okay, so here on which date. So all this means the purchase equation is inter-purchase document. Any user can able to create any user department. So once the purchase equation is created in the receiving plant, because the receiving plant is required, so receiving plant people will create a PR. Then in receiving plant, so what they will do after the PR, so they will convert into PO here. Okay, so it will go to the purchase department. They will create a PO in ME21 transition code, ME21 transition code. So they will create a PO ME21 with reference to PR. Okay, so with reference to PR. So once the PO is created, okay, so it will go to the vendor. okay, vendor in other cases. But today you are creating STO PO. How to differentiate normal PO and STO PO? So in type 1 STO, what we need to select to differentiate? So you must select the document type UB. So previously we selected document type NB, right? Now whenever you select a document type UB, how your system is going to change, what are the field selection is happened, we need to discuss here. So there is a second step here. Once the PO is created, it will go to the supplying plant. What the supplying plant people will do? They will do the stock transports. Okay, so they will do stock transfers. In which transition code here? MB1B transition code or MIGO, okay, with reference to PR here. So here with reference to PR, with reference to PO, not so movement type. Movement type will be 351. So actually, unfortunately, in real time, so what happened? Receiving plant people receiving, okay, what are the steps they will perform, and supplying plant people supplying. But unfortunately, in training system there is no option. So I'm using the same system here. But in real time, we need to observe which steps need to perform the receiving plant, which steps here. So here, once the PO is created, it will go to supplying plant. The supplying plant people, they will do the stock transfers, but they are by using the PO. Okay, so with reference to PO, by using these two transition codes, but they need to use 351 momentum. What happened here? This plant is requesting. So this plant are issuing. So whenever they issue, the stock will be decreased here, and meanwhile the stock will be done. So immediately the stock is not updated in the receiving plant. Whenever this receiving plant people received, so they will perform the goods receipt. So enter the goods receipt in MIGO transition code. Okay, so here what is the movement type you need to observe? So in MIGO, so movement type here. So you need to observe the movement type. The movement type will be 101. Okay, the movement type 101. Actually, when the stock is issued, stock will be decreased here. Meanwhile, stock will be in transit. Whenever the receiving plant is received, they will perform finally goods receipt with 101. So automatically stock will be updated. But this is the most important. So the two prerequisites will be, okay, so we need to observe the two prerequisites here. So what are the two prerequisites? The material should be maintained in both the plants. Okay, so the material should be maintained both the plants. Okay, and means stock should be available. Okay, in supplying plant, receiving plant, the stock should be available. So here, this is the in simple stock transfer also we observed here. What do you observe in simple stock transfers? The stock should be, okay, so here suppose now you are creating the material must be extended. Okay, the receiving plant, supplying plant, you must extend the stock. Otherwise, we are not able to come, right? So the stock should be extended here. So the first prerequisite in simple stock transfer also we observe here. And second prerequisite, the sufficient. So which plant is supplying? The sufficient stock should be available in the supplying plant. So let us perform this scenario. But finally, what we need to understand to run this, we no need to maintain any configuration steps here. Okay. Now let us run the scenario. So let me go to login pad. So go to login. Enter the user ID and password. Go to SPRO. No, first we'll perform the prerequisite, then we'll see the configuration. Okay. So let us perform the prerequisite here. What is the prerequisite here? So if I created any material in supplying plant store location, the material must be extended to receiving plant. So once you will perform the prerequisite, then you can run the scenario. First, let me go to MM01. I'll create one material. So with any material type, let us say you can take raw material or semi-finished material, any material. So go to sales views here with the basic MMVs. So with basic MMVs, and sales views is not required. So plant and store location. So this is actually test material. Okay, so test material. What is your base unit of measure? Some PC. Enter material group. Enter some buyer group here. So enter the valuation class here. Price, I need to enter the price, right? So enter the price and enter the moving code. So you know everybody how to create a material, right? So which material we created? 1492 material we created here. This 1492 material, okay. So now for stock transfer also we observed. Okay, the material need to be extended. So whatever the material you created, The material you must extend it to receiving plant. What is my receiving plant? 1100, right? So simply if we created the plant that if you are not extended, we cannot run. So this already we observed in stock transfers we observed. So once you created one material, okay, the material need to be extended here. Otherwise we cannot perform. So now let us fulfill this first prerequisite here. So the same material, how to extend it. So how to extend the material? I need to go to same MM0 transition code here. Go to MM0. So this 1492 material. Okay, it's 1492 material. I want to extend it. Okay. So if I want to extend here, so here if I have not enter the same material code, the system will create another material code. If I am not extended, then what happened here? It will create another material code. So here should not like this. Okay, this material need to be extended here. If you want to extend here, so you should use the same material code. Go to arc levels. So enter the receiving plant here. Okay, what is my receiving plant? 1100. Enter receiving plant and store location. I will click on continue. So enter the buyer group. Enter the relation class. And some moving project. Okay. So 1492 material. So what is the table to see? So whether the how many number of plants this material got extended. So previously we discussed tables are most important. What is the table? Go to SC16. What is the table? SC16 to see MERC. So this is actually you should not forget. Okay. So enter your material code 1492. Now this material you can see. So in which plant this material got extended? 1000 plant as well as 1100 plant. Okay. So both the plants the material is created and extended here. Now with this we completed only one prerequisite here. What is the prerequisite? Only first prerequisite we completed. So what is my second prerequisite? I need to make the availability of the stock in supplying plant. Which plant is supplying? In this plant stock should be available, right? So for this actually, so what I need to do? So simply, so I need to make the availability of the stock. So here to make the availability of the stock, so directly you can create a PO to the vendor, any one vendor, stock will be available. Or so whenever the user is required the material in emergency, so you don't have time to prepare the PO, go to MB1C. So enter the moment type 501, so enter the plant and store location. Enter the plant and the store location. So click on vertical. So enter the material 1492, right? So enter the material 1492. Which vendor is providing? Suppose 1000 vendor. Okay, so how much quantity provided? So 1000. So why? Because if I go to stock overview, so before posting, so supplying plant need to issue the material. So why the second prerequisite is required? Because so from this plant, if I want to supply, this plant should have some stocks. In stock transfer also we discussed here. If I go to MMBE, so what is the stock here? Before going to post here, if I go to MMBE, so what is my stock position in 1000 stock will be 0 because there is no stock here. Okay, so there is no stock. So that's what we are receiving the goods receipt without PO. If I post here, now stock is dispatched by this vendor without any PO. So when we are applying, so if you go to here, so it means you received the stock physically from the vendor. So now stock is available. Now you can able to run the scenario. Now you can able to run the scenario. So we can do some stock transfers here. For doing some stock transfers, receiving plant people. So who will create the PR? So which plant is required? So they will create the purchase document like PR and PO. So most of the companies the initial document is required. So receiving plant people they will create a PR. Go to okay, so here ME51 transition code. What is the transition code here? Receiving plant. So what is the transition code to create purchase equation? ME51. So ME51 is the transition code to create a purchase equation. Okay, receiving plant people they will create a purchase equation. So what actually they will do? So what material they require? Suppose they require 1492. How much quantity they require? Example, they require some 35 pieces. So which plant people is creating? Receiving plant people. What is the store location? 001 store. Simply they will mention. So this is going to this will be done by the receiving plant people. The receiving plant people, some user he require the material. Okay, on which date, on which plant, on which store location. So which plant is required? So that particular plant will create PR and PO. But if it is a normal purchase equation, or suppose user knows, okay, however this material need to bring from other plant, we can enter the supplying plant also. In source of supply tab, if you know the plant, you can enter the supplying plant, or simply go to message during check and we can click on save. The purchase equation is created. The purchase equation is created. So this is my purchase equation number here. Okay, so copy the purchase equation number. Copy the purchase equation number. So once the purchase equation is created, this purchase equation. So once the purchase equation is created, now I want to, okay, so now come to here, the purchase equation will be converted into PO, receiving plant people. So once the purchase equation is created, it will go to the, okay, so it will go to the, once the purchase equation is created, it will go to the purchase department, they will create a PO. It will go to the purchase department, they will create a PO. So go to ME21 transaction. They will create a PO, ME21. So here, what they will do, simply they will enter the PR number here. They will enter the purchase equation number here. Not copied properly, no problem. We have search options will be there. The which material 1492 email system will be your PR number 1492. Which plant here? Not in 1000 plant. So don't confuse. It is in 1100 plant, right? So 11 plant. So there is a purchase equation. Which plant we created? 11 plant, right? So once you enter the purchase equation number, the system will pick all the details. So 11 plant, which material, which user, how many number of pieces, what is the delivery date, which plant and location, all the details. But which patch recognition is 1000 patch recognition. But what we discussed here, so this is the STO PO, right? So the user must select the document of UB. It is not a normal PO. So we are creating stock transport order. So how to differentiate here? In PO, you must select the document of UB, which is called stock transport order. When I select a document of UB, automatically this vendor will become as a supplying plant, and item category also system will pick you. Okay. So you must change the document of UB. When you select the document of UB, the vendor will be rated as a supplying plant. Okay, enter the supplying plant and which document type item category U. Item category system will pick the U. Okay. Now click on message during check. So click on check. Okay, so once the purchase order is created in the receiving plant, okay, the receiving plant people, so once they will create a PO, the PO will go to the supplying plant, right? This PO will go to the supplying plant. Okay. So what the supplying plant people will do? The supplying plant people simply they will do the stock transfer. Okay. So is the type 1 STO, no configuration steps is required. So receiving plant end. So once they will create a PO, it will go to the supplying plant. The supplying plant people, so they will do the stock transfers in MB1B or MGO. So whenever we'll do the stock transfers, okay, the stock will be reduced here in supplying plant and stock will be posted in transit. So whenever the receiving plant is received, finally they will confirm the goods receipt here. Go to, okay, so after the PO. So if a PO is any subjected release strategy, we need to observe. If it is release strategy, so we need to release it. There is no release strategy. Okay. But whenever you change it from NB document and UV document type, instead of a vendor, so it will become supplying plant and item category also you. This means based on the document type, now you observe how the field selection. Based on the item category, based on the document type, internally already field selection will be controlled. So copy the PO number. This is most important. We'll see in customization classes. So 4500171193. So once the PO is created, now till now it will be done by the receiving plant. Now the PO will go to the supplying plant. The supplying plant people, so they will go to MB1B transition code or MGO. Simply go to MB1B or MGO. Which moment type they will enter? 351. Okay, they will enter 350 moment type. So which plant and which location they will enter the plant and location. Simply continue. Okay. So what is your PO number? Okay. So your PO number. So just what I need to do? So just you go to MB1. Simply go to MB1B. So this is performing by supplying plant people. Initially they will enter 351 moment type. For type 1 STO, what is the moment type 351? Which plant is supplying, which location you need to enter, and you need to click on to purchase order, enter your PO number. Correct? Your PO number. So once you enter the PO number, you need to click on other place details. So how much the supplying plant people issue? So this is the issuing plant here, 1000. How many number of pieces we are issuing? 35 pieces with reference to this PO number, which is the receiving plant 11. Okay. So once we issue with 351 momentum, so click on sell. So when you do the goods issue, what happened here? The stock will be decreased here. The stock will be decreased in supplying plant. Let us observe. So now what we observe here, when you do the 351 momentum, the stock will be decreased in supplying plant. Okay. And meanwhile, stock will be in transit on the way. Okay, you can check the stock in transit also, that I will show you. So first you go and observe the stock overview. So where you already stock overview screen is there, right? Here stock should be 35 pieces need to be decreased because we are using supplying plant, right? Here in supplying plant. If I refresh now, it will become 65 pieces here. Stock got decreased out of 100. The stock is here. Okay, so it is moved to receiving plant, but it is not received the receiving plant. If you come to here, it will show only unordered stock. So now let me check here whether where exactly the stock. If it is received here, if you click on execute here, the stock is in unordered stock. Okay, so still 35 pieces here. So where exactly the stock position? The stock position. Okay. So now please observe your stock position is MB50. So still the stock is not received the receiving plan. So where exactly the stock position? The stock go to MB50. So you can write down note to check the stock in transit MB50. MB50 is the report. Okay. To check the stock in transit. So in SAP, MB50 is the report. Go to MB50, enter the material and enter the receiving plant. So if you click on it, so this is the display stock in transit. Okay. If you click on exhibit here, the stock in transit here. Now this material with reference to this plant. Okay. So this material with reference to this PO number, 11 plant is receiving, so 1000 plant is supplying, so 35 pieces here. So this is about stock transit. Okay. So copy of PO number. Now whenever the receiving, give me 1 second. Waiting on call. So now the stock is in transit here. Stock is in transit. So whenever the receiving plant received, so we need to the final step here. What is the final step here? So whenever the receiving plant received, so they will perform the goods receipt in image view. By using one or two methods, they will receive the material. Simply come to here. Now go to image view. Whenever this people is received, simply go to Migo. In Migo transaction code, goods receipt purchase order, enter the purchase order number. So actually, whenever you are performing, you must be careful here. So this actually is doing by the ordering plant, not supplying. If you enter the supplying plant, this will not open. If it is blank, also no problem. Means trading system, we are using both the supplying plant, receiving plant transaction in the same system. But in real time, there is no issue. But trading system, we need to observe. With both the activities, we are doing same user, right? But it actually in real time, it will be done by the receiving plant. That was the receiving plant. So with reference to goods receipt, purchase order, and observe all these details. Okay, which material, how much quantity we are receiving, 35 pieces. In very tab, you can observe plant and store location. Purchase order, you can see the PO number. Partner tab, so you can see the supplying plant bill. Account estimate tab also. You can see the okay. Click here. Check. Post this. The material document is posted. So once the material document is posted, please go and observe the stock value. Okay. If I refresh the stock, automatically the stock got updated. The 35 pieces is received to receiving plant. So now the supplying people issue and receiving plant is received here. Now if I want to check so both the stocks here at a time here. Simply, so whenever you want to see a particular material is available in multiple plants, remove the plant and remove the store location. Now system will show you in how many number of plants and each and every plant how many number of store locations. So all the plants that will show you. So this material is available in two plants. In one plant, one store location 65 pieces. In another plant, another store location, I have 35 pieces. So all together, I have 100 pieces. Okay. So So this is my stock position. So once again, if you come to the subject here, so what we observed here, so MMSD integrations, we have two methods: intra-company, intercompany. Intra-company means always we need to observe the same company code between two plants. Intra-company means company code one plant to company code other plant. But intra-company, so in first method we have again two types of STOs. Type 1 STO we discussed today. So if any types of STOs if you want to perform, you must maintain the two prerequisites. The material should be created in both the plants and sufficient stock should be available. In real time, you don't need to prepare. Why I am preparing the data every time? Because in training system, so instantly if you are preparing the master data, you will understand. Okay, so easy. So that's what. But in real time, you don't need to prepare the master data. Straight away we can run. But one more important thing, what we discussed here, to perform type 1 STO, I don't want to maintain any config steps. Without config steps, I can perform. But type 2 and type 3 STO. Since tomorrow we are going to discuss about type 2 STO. What is type 2 STO? STO with HD shipping and STO without billing. So this must to maintain the config steps. Then only we can run. There are 6 config steps you need to perform. Then only you can perform the type 2 STO. So that however we will discuss in tomorrow session here. So today just you practice this here. Okay, Lakshmi and Yamuna.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining session. We'll be tomorrow at the same time. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.